Hello and welcome to TrishRockTV, interviews with people on purpose, loving life. Today's special guest is the very knowledgeable and talented Kirsty Fields. Kirsty has over 21 years experience in event management, coordinating everything from kids events to national sports games. After a successful career in sports marketing, she embraced her marketing skills to change jobs to advance her own career. During what she describes as the most stressful part of her life, where she managed 60 social media accounts, including those of celebrities and community identities, it was also the same time that taught her so much about digital marketing too. It's that combination of experience, stress, process creation, and promotional techniques she's built a successful business from after recovering from a shock redundancy, which we're going to talk about. Her first-hand experience with the loss of identity has given her a unique perspective on how one can redirect their passion and skills into a revenue-raising business, not just a hobby. Training clients in social media, digital and content marketing, as well as providing traditional marketing services through Social Ocean, her business, allows Kirsty to do just that herself and for her clients around Australia, and is a local business leader within her community where she champions volunteer organisations, professional associations run by volunteers, and has founded a local business network for other business owners within her region. It is my great pleasure to have you on the show, Kirsty. Welcome.
Thanks, Trish.
And thank you, everybody who is here today. You might notice my background's a bit different. I'm not at my home right now or my office. I'm in a different state, but we're all good. We're here to talk to Kirsty. And Kirsty, you've got such a wealth of experience, and I do want to talk about this loss of identity, which helped you move somewhere else, because I had that as well in my life, and I think many people listening will identify with that as well. But I want to know, where did it all start for you?
With my loss of identity, or way back when?
Way back when, with you going through into this marketing career.
Yeah, I've had a really strange and transitional career. Really, I was working in libraries locally and within the local high school after working for the government library. And from there, I got into rugby league, which is an extremely weird connection. Rugby league, but it was something that happened at the local high school, and I ended up getting a government grant to help local footy boys with their like tertiary studies, basically.
Okay.
So that led me down the path of rugby league, a winding path through sports administration and into sports marketing eventually, and sponsorship and relationship building. So that's a very short, condensed libraries to rugby league, but it was the rugby league that really got me into large scale audience events and promotional campaigns and marketing of sport, just generally speaking, and running lots of events week to week, but being responsible for marketing, selling tickets, getting bums on seats, basically. And I did eventually leave that job, which I loved. I love sports marketing and I love everyone that I work with in that business, but I just realised I kind of couldn't progress any further in a very masculine workplace.
Yeah.
So I left that role for a bit of a break before I took on another marketing management role. But I did that the very same year that government changes federally affected my workplace. And I found myself one of many hundreds and hundreds of people from around the country at the time who were left without a job in the tertiary studies. So yes, so unexpectedly, because no one could really foresee that.
Yeah.
But it was really, I was enjoying annual leave and having a nice summer break, and got the call from the boss, unfortunately, to say there's no job to come back to tomorrow.
Gosh, a bit of a shock if you're not expecting it. Yeah.
Huge shock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the entire administrative team was wiped out in a space of an hour. And and that was at the end of summer break. So I had a few weeks off. I was in a bit of a holiday mode, to be honest. That was probably the only bonus about it. And I kind of spent the next few weeks maintaining holiday mode and swimming in the pool, drinking wine in the afternoon. I do describe that as pretty much my standard day for some period of time.
Yeah.
Until I like being busy, so I can only be busy for a short period of time, and then the reality struck that I had always had a job. I'd always worked full time for many, since my daughter was very young, and the loss of a job actually took up the majority of my life. I spent more time at work than I did at home. Even on weekends, I'd find myself at work, or evenings working round the clock. So take that away, and it's like, well, what have I got left? What is it that I do? What is it that I want to do? What is it that I can do? And how I can participate in some form of employment.
But it's being productive and contributing as well, isn't it? Because you're a little bit like me, and while you may enjoy a holiday and a bit of downtime, you want to contribute, and your mind is always going as well. So you want to create, and you want to help solve problems and be productive and be a useful part of a system. So that would have just been a real shock. The interesting thing is, though, for so many of us over the years, we get into these jobs like with the rugby and that, we think, I wonder where this is going to go. But it all kind of blends in, doesn't it, when we finally get into that space like you are now with your business. All of that experience you've had is all culminated into the beautiful service that you do now. When you were feeling that way with your loss of identity, what did you want to just go and get any job, or was it something you had to work out for yourself what you wanted to do?
I think there were two things. I felt that the basis of the shock for me was that I hadn't had to have a job interview in 2 decades. I'd been poached from job to job. So for someone to ring and tell me they don't want me anymore, and that's not what it was. It was just I wasn't needed, but it really was that feeling of I'm not wanted.
Yeah.
And that was a real barrier for me and a real knock to my confidence.
Yeah.
Most people who know me, and particularly in my business now, know me as a pretty strong and confident character. That was a real knock to that part of me that had built up confidence and strength working in a very masculine career role previously. But I think I didn't realise that for some period of time. I've still been digesting that a little bit, that knock to my identity or feeling of being left out. But I think when I started to look for a new job, like it's, I needed a resume, and like, what do I put on a resume? What do I say? And I probably dealt with so many things that are just everyday problems that everybody faces.
Yeah.
But I was building a resume, and I found myself spending so much time delivering this beautiful, visually appealing resume. I really wasn't focused on what that resume was going to do. I was trying to make something. I was using a creative process to avoid the reality of what I was supposed to be doing. So I slowly processing it, but I'm really lucky. My husband's extremely supportive, and through conversing with, this job, I don't think I could do that job. I can't do that one skill. And I was probably coming up with my own barriers about why I shouldn't apply for that job or that job. But in the end, being in marketing, and we don't live in the city, we live north of Brisbane City, all the good marketing jobs are in the city, and I had been driving to and from the city already, so 2 hours travel, and I was not interested in doing that again. I didn't want to lose 2 hours of my day. I probably had a few too many swims and wines of an afternoon. Mindset of like, actually, I could work less.
Yeah.
Look, if it doesn't feel right, why bother? Why bother applying for it?
Yeah.
So I didn't. And then I had a couple of close contacts give me a buzz and say, we'd like your help. We think that you could help, or we know that you can help because you've done this for us, with us before.
Wonderful.
And so there became the spark of Social Ocean.
Oh, well, first of all, kudos to your husband. And second of all, it's interesting when we just let go of it all, what comes, isn't it? The resistance. But, you know, being rejected, we can really take personally, but it's really not a personal thing usually. But we can, and it can be very devastating to our ego and to our
identity,
confidence and identity. Yeah, absolutely. So I just think that's fabulous for people to hear that, because, you know, I was made redundant, similar to your story, actually, you know, in March, across all the offices in the company I worked with within a day. Most of the admin, not all of them, but a lot of admin. That's it, redundant by. And, you know, it was devastating for many of them who'd been there for quite some time. And what do you do then, especially in this kind of crisis? But, you know, it's nice to hear that if you can really let go of taking any of it personally and just really focus on what you want to do, there's something, it does come, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things I realised was by having someone ring me and say, we need your help, and another person saying, I know you can do this with your hands tied behind your back, you know, essentially, that gave me, you know, an inkling back of what I'd just lost swiftly. But I think I was really lucky. So apart from having my husband going, you know, don't do that if you don't feel like it's right, I had a whole series of very supportive friends that were checking in with me and talking out ideas, and this whole concept of me I actually needed to become a business owner, because one of those roles that I needed to assist with, I needed to have an ABN. So I actually became this accidental business owner very quickly, and so I was reaching out to anyone and everyone that I knew who owned a business, was up top level management, and all these people that I knew, to just like, oh my gosh, this is what I've got to do. Can you help? And then I was surrounded and supported very well. And it's actually one of the reasons why I started my business networking group, is that someone had said to me, I think you should go out and join a local business networking group. So I did start doing that, and I made new connections, new business connections, referral partners, all these great things. But what I'd done is I'd grabbed a new blanket and pulled it up and tight around myself with people who knew things that I felt that I didn't. And so that also was continually reboosting various areas of confidence in my life and myself again. And slowly rebuilding back into a confident business owner, which, you know, even just the idea of that was a bit of a struggle initially, that I was a business owner.
Wow. Before you got made redundant, it probably wouldn't have even been in your head that would even happen.
Never. It was not. It's not. I didn't grow up with a dream to be a business owner. That's not. that I had.
No. And there's been some other incidences through your life too, hasn't there, that have brought you, to the work that you do.
Yeah, definitely. I grew up in a family particularly who was helpful towards others always, who were less fortunate than ourselves from a very, very young age. Both my parents were heavily involved in volunteering for community organisations, were heavily involved in the church when I was very young particularly. My parents sponsored Vietnamese refugees to Australia, and then we grew up living in those Vietnamese families' homes. Basically, Mum has helped teach the ladies how to put on makeup and speak English, and Dad would, help the husbands with similar, with their banking stuff, and not that he was teaching the blokes how to put makeup on, but, really Australian society. Everyday things that they needed to learn about it being in a new country. But it also, my dad was a soccer coach. My mum was volunteering at the local primary school with kids, English as a second language. Always my parents were helping, but through church we were really heavily involved in St. Vincent de Paul. And every single one of us kids, I've got 3 siblings that I grew up with, and we were all heavily involved with everything that Mum and Dad volunteered with. And I have very much enjoyed being a volunteer myself. As a teenager, I was into everything. I was into the anything that the student council had going, anything that the local door knock appeals I was volunteering for. I was on the youth council for our local area as well. I was just involved with festivals and all sorts of stuff. So that's really carried on through me outside school, and then as an adult too, volunteering back at the school, helping tutor kids unbelievably in maths. I think anyone who knows me would think that that's probably hilarious that I was tutoring kids in maths, because that's not my strong point. But I actually became a rugby league coach through my rugby league career. Also very fun to a lot of people who don't know me that I am a qualified coach. But I've enjoyed very much volunteering in my community as well. And I don't know I don't know how it happens that things just come into place, like puzzle pieces get fit together. But there's a community group that comes calling to me for help and assistance. It's far more exciting and of interest to me than a paying customer, so to speak. I really am interested in helping others who need help. Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? So fascinating. And you're just a gatherer of people, and you love to help and support those people. And now in your business, Social Ocean, you also do that through social media and help other people to connect to their communities and their tribes as well. So I just love, there's some more pieces that fit together too. So tell us what else you do in your business for anybody watching that may need your services.
Social Ocean agency is the best way to describe it. I have a really strong training focus. I think that my interest and passion for helping others is kind of extended to an education base, where I like to work with other business owners and help them learn how to do these processes and chores and tasks for themselves.
Absolutely, because not everybody is a natural connector.
No,
so you're a natural connector and a natural community builder, but not everybody has that skill. So,
but also because I am an accidental business owner, I relate to the many other people that find themselves in that scenario.
Perfect.
And right now, particularly more than ever in around the world, people are finding themselves perhaps thinking about what it is that they can do for themselves, or they've had an interest and now's the time to perhaps pursue that from behind locked doors, or even as a side hustle as they recover, strength and capacity with their own business or career role. But that's the exact type of person that I like to assist, someone who's launching themselves, because I can walk through that process with that person. Quite often the people that I'm working with have a very low budget.
Yes.
And so there lies my interest with that training focused side of Social Ocean. It's really working with the person with a low budget who needs to learn the skills and implement it themselves long term whilst they're building that initial business phase. It's normally 12 months to 3 years till we get to that next business phase of growth, for example.
Yeah.
And outsourcing is certainly something that people need to do, because if they just simply don't have the skill set, like I really need to outsource bookkeeping because I don't have the mathematical skill set.
Yeah.
Got to outsource something because they can't get a bearing or a basic understanding of it, and that's totally fine. But my perspective is that I think with a little bit of knowledge and support and confidence building from someone else, people can grasp concepts of DIY marketing and help get their business up off the ground themselves to save themselves a few dollars. But also there's so many areas of business that have a basis in your marketing.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy working with startup businesses, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, whichever word people kind of connect to.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's great, and of course, when you're outsourcing anything, you really need to have a little basic understanding of what it is you want and how it works, because you have to actually explain it to someone else. So if you're helping people with that, I think that's fantastic.
The other thing, I don't want to get off track, but the other thing about outsourcing is, if outsourcing is something that you have zero knowledge about, how do you know if it's being done the way you'd like it to be done or the way it should be done? So just having a real base knowledge of everything in your business is a wise prospect.
Absolutely. And there's not a lot of people who are targeting like the startups now. Like, you know what I mean? They're all like, no, just give us all this money and we'll just do it for you, and blah 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 blah. And that's really not what a lot of people actually need at that time. So you take them. Well, I've spoken to you and seen you speaking to other people now a few times, and you can explain things at an understandable level. It's not all techie talk.
Speaking English.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a client who's a very good friend of mine. We've worked together for a number of years, and she said to me on the phone today, this is why I work with you, Kirsty, because you'll just tell me how it is and you'll help me understand it, because I have no idea, but I trust that you'll take the time to explain it to me, even when I don't realise I need it to be explained, so that she's aware of what it is that's happening. And there's no greater feeling than making sure that I'm providing or over-providing knowledge and confidence in how it is that, myself and my team are providing support to others, really important.
There goes my light.
We expected that.
We expected that. Sorry, everybody. I have a makeshift studio right now. Let's just pop my light back up. And you know what? Let's see.
It looks good.
It also builds, with that confidence, it builds the confidence in the business owner, and I think you relate to that as well, which is really brilliant. Let's talk about Ocean Network. Let's talk about the network group and why you started that, and the joy it brings you.
As I mentioned before, I had someone say, you should go to business networking and meet new people, meet other business owners in your area. And being a social person, I really did enjoy that, and I met some wonderful, wonderful people actually over the last few years who've become friends, colleagues, clients. But one of the things that I really recognised that I needed, and it does come back to that lack of confidence initially, is that I didn't know anything about being a business owner, and I was a sponge. Yeah. Any conversation, every conversation that someone wanted to talk about business, I was the first one there and the last one to leave. And so I was really looking for a solution for knowledge, education, learning, sharing of information with me, because I didn't have an income, so to speak. So I was looking for that for free, because a lot of business networking groups actually offer friendship and networking at low or no cost.
Yeah.
So Ocean Network was born out of a conversation I had with two other local ladies who were looking for something more out of their business networking too at the time. And so I had said, this is what I'm looking for. And I don't think that it's here for us locally, exactly what it is we're looking for. So let's create it.
Perfect.
So literally within the next 6 to 8 weeks, we had nutted out the concept. Already, Ocean Network already had a name out of a Facebook group, so we maintained that name. Even though it's Ocean Network and Social Ocean, it's not my group. So I have co-founders.
Yes.
But it rolls off the tongue a little bit, obviously, Ocean Network.
Absolutely. And it's near the ocean.
And that was the thing, where we were actually having this conversation at the Belvedere Hotel initially, the very first conversation.
Yeah.
And I'd done some work with the Belvedere already, so I kind of just pivoted on my heel pretty much and said, I'm going to ask the guys if they'll host us, because they don't host another business group here except for social events. And the Belvedere welcomed us and said, yes, we'd love to have you. And so from there, the three of us came up with really the foundations for our group, which are providing guest speakers that make us better in business or make us better people to do business.
Yes.
And so we meet twice a month, 10 months of the year. We have the summer break off, and we literally have covered all different sorts of topics in life and business. And us as founders, we speak in amongst that as well. So, and it's completely free to come, like, except for what you might purchase for breakfast, coffee, cakes, breakfast, pancakes, whatever it is that, takes you fancy on a Tuesday morning. But the group itself has really provided me with so much more than education. I've got, I refer to them as colleagues and peers. They're like my extended team in my office.
Yeah.
The people that I call when I'm looking for advice or support for something, and I look forward to seeing them. We're very virtual right now, so I feel like I'm missing them a lot. But it's much more than just business networking. It's 99% of the group are women. But I think that's something that probably as women, I'm sure you relate to, that need for nurturing and friendship and emotional sharing as well. I think, women, we need that or look for that a lot more than men in general. Very general statement, obviously, but the ladies are superb.
Yeah. So I've come along to 2 of the virtual networks, and I can say that's absolutely true, because I see everything going on in the chat, and I see how you guys, and it's not, I've been to a lot of networking over the years, and it's definitely not like the other network groups. It really is a group of diverse business women who really, it's just a support group. It's fantastic, and kudos to you for putting that together, because it's a really strong network group, I think, that's only going to grow and grow and grow, and hoping to get to a live one soon. But and for those who are listening who don't know, Kirsty's at Redcliffe in Queensland, and which is, I'm in this area as well, and the beach is just right there. So the ocean, sorry, not the beach. And so, do you feel, with your strong pull to volunteering, do you think that founding the local business networking group is a foundation for your own volunteerism?
I think something that I connected the dots about those streams of consistency through my life since being a business owner. I don't think, and originally it had anything to do with, I'd like to volunteer to start a business group. The concept wasn't even there that I was volunteering to do that, but it's something that comes naturally to me. I enjoy setting events up in business and, for Ocean Network, it's an event-based business group.
Yeah.
So I'm doing tasks. There's social media to go with promotions of our events and all that type of stuff. So it's a real extension of everything that I do in my business. So it comes easily. I don't feel stressed about it. It's not, yes, it takes time, of course, but it's not a chore. It's something that I willingly do. After we're 2.5 years into Ocean Network now, so it's quite streamlined our process. Even switching to virtual stuff, it's still very processed. I think I recognise the providing a supportive group, having a slightly different format to most networking groups that I've ever been to, offers something fresh, and offers a genuine connection between, our group. And I know that you haven't been to one in person with us soon, but that's probably one of the things that I'm most proud of with Ocean Network is offering a space and I'm not offering the space, but I'm offering the time and community for others to build a network and build a community and gain education and strength and confidence for themselves. And I think that that's probably where my connection is that, yes, I'm volunteering in that capacity by founding the group. And that makes me very proud. I am very proud of the effort and energy that's I put into it, but I get much more from it. I get it back in leaps and bounds, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you are in it 100%. Kirsty, for the people who are in business right now and perhaps having a bit of a turbulent time in this uncertain arena we all find ourselves in, what would be your best advice, or how are you helping people move through that at the moment? Is there a couple of things that people could do that would help?
A couple of tips is right now there are a lot of various level government grants available. So a tip in that space is to keep your ear to the ground. So keeping up with local council, your local MPs or, federal MPs, state members. Joining up to their newsletters so that when something hits the ground, you can apply for that. So as a business owner, there is all sorts of grants nationwide. I've got one client right now who has got a COVID grant. They're in rural, not quite rural, but rural New South Wales. But they were telling me in their particular area they had bushfire grants available to them for their business. So through different times of turbulence, right now there's been lots of COVID-19 grants available around the country. So keep your ear out for them and perhaps actually have a look at your business to determine what it is. If you had money magically given to you where you don't have to put your life on the line for it, what is it that you would do with that money in your business, and kind of come up with a plan or a wish list so that if you do manage to get a grant that fits into your parameters, you can apply for it ASAP, because many of them right now have got deadlines and it's first in, best dressed. And I've had many phone calls recently. There was one day a couple of weeks ago, I had 3 phone calls and an email from different businesses here wanting me to provide a quote on the spot, basically. And my marketing agency is far too bespoke to be able to just send off a random quote. So that's the basis for my advice there is what would you do with some money, some free money right now in your business.
And is that for, are those grants for startups as well that are not GST registered?
There is lots of grants for all different levels of business, from an entrepreneur through to, national businesses. But
wonderful. That's a great advice.
There'll be grants that I've never heard of because they're happening in your area, and not mine. But the other piece of advice I've got, particularly for people who are locked up, who have literally have to turn the business off, is there are as many online spaces where you can find an industry-specific support for yourself. So there is many business women's groups online, so I'm far more aware of them than there are for men, but I'm sure that there is something that's not just a fishing group available for men's support, that's really for business as well. See if you can test the waters there. You don't have to be in every group. In fact, one of the things that I've been doing recently is leaving groups that I've not been active in.
They can get very overwhelming, can't they?
Too much content.
Yes.
But test the waters with some groups to find the ones where the community is contributing, and have a go at contributing yourself to see if you can find the support of strangers can be very uplifting. I know that sounds perhaps a little bit strange, but when you don't necessarily know someone, sometimes you can speak freely because it's not going to come back at you, or they don't know your friends, so you can maybe talk through a problem that you have without fear. So seek out a group that's suitable for you, that can offer support specific to your needs. And even if it's just in an area you'd like to spend some time learning, it doesn't have to be support necessarily. It could be for education or relaxation, because it's a very stressful time right now. So whatever you feel you need, there's a support group for you. But if you don't have a go and seek them out, you won't necessarily find the right one for you.
No, it's great advice, isn't it? And with the grants and the groups, and I know I've been leaving a few of the groups as well. They're just too overwhelming, and you sometimes you lose your confidence in those groups too, because you just feel like you can't connect with anybody, and it's like, oh, what's wrong with me? So definitely find the ones that connect with you, because there's always a community that matches you, isn't there? There's a like-minded community that will match you. So that's really.
You don't want to commit to a bunch of strangers either. So I guess that's where my point is: you contributing, but making sure that that community is contributing back, because ideally you're not the only one that's putting in the time to them, and so that you're getting comments back. It doesn't take too long to figure out that the group's not for you anyway, but you've got to have a go to figure that out. But my clients right now are taking stock and refreshing and resetting things that they're doing. They're taking the time to write fresh content and refreshing websites. That has been a very strong theme for the last few months here at Social Ocean. I've been working on concurrent website projects the whole time through lockdown period for Queensland. So if you feel like you've got time, write yourself a list and start checking it off.
Absolutely. And have you been helping some businesses find different forms of revenue through their businesses as well through this time?
Yeah, particularly I think when I work with a client, we kind of go on a journey where they might come to me for one thing, but over a period of time, we build on that maybe original service and get into other spaces. But quite regularly, sitting down with clients, recognising what their business goals are, and then identifying what services they're providing now, or how they could perhaps tweak a service or add in something similar. It's not stressful to be adding something new in. I think sometimes we get caught up with, oh gosh, I don't know what to do, I haven't planned for that. But making some minor changes or tweaks or introducing some new things is going to be of more service to our customers or our community. So really kind of get into the nuts and bolts of how something's happening in business right now and how that could change or be introduced, earn money in something off plan. I suppose is the best way. We don't have to always stick to a plan. If we get too structured and too processed, there's no flexibility and no creativity being brought in. I'm quite I feel like I need that in everything.
Absolutely. You've got to be open to those new opportunities, and it's exactly like you when you were doing the whole resume thing. When you just let that go, the opportunities started coming, and so that, I think, is happening. I've seen it happen to a lot of businesses that are now, oh, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Because they're meeting the market needs. And the interesting thing I find is that for many of them, and probably a lot of your clients as well, this time next year, they're not going to recognise their business because it's going to be morphed into something super spectacular that they would never have thought of unless they were pushed into this change.
I mean, I have so many clients who have been using Zoom to conduct business their entire business length of, however long they've been running, but it's never occurred to them to talk about it. And so what they've done, they've set themselves up for success without a reason for understanding or expecting the worst to happen in the world, like what's happening right now. So some of these people that I've been working with for a long time are well placed and well skilled, and have now therefore been helping other people in their community to set themselves up for success as well. But also even just recognizing a need for someone that you've grown to know well, like if you think of a particular customer or a particular client of yours, and think about what their needs are. I think most people have it naturally that they feel like they could help. So even just thinking about what it is that you could do to help that one person unlocks a whole range of other concepts or ideas that we could put our test cases and like I think of one particular client right now. She is an in-store person, doesn't do anything online until
now
2020. And she was home delivering products.
Right.
She was selling things via phone, email. She doesn't have an online store set up, but she has a very locally run business because she has a storefront. So she's just transformed, not necessarily to online, but we're very lucky here in Queensland. We've not been locked down past our capacity of delivery.
Yes.
But she has consistently earned money during lockdown just by saying, I can do this. And how does it fit my skill set, and what can I do quickly? We're now talking about how we can put those temporary measures in place permanently. So that there's no new stress point if and when an impending doom happens for us again, or natural disasters of any description. It doesn't have to be a pandemic. This is for forevermore. What have we learnt? How easy was it at the end of the day to make changes? And if it wasn't easy, the hard yards was definitely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so wonderful what you're helping people with. So how can people get in contact with you? Do you have a website, or are they best to reach out here on Facebook?
It might not be surprising to find out that I'm on all the social medias. I'm very happy.
Just type in Kirsty Fields.
Type in Kirsty Fields. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, particularly, like for a personal profile. LinkedIn is the place to be. I don't have too much of a Facebook friend culture, to be honest, because I am on social media all the time. I like to try and keep some space for myself, but Social Ocean, you can talk to me personally. I am the voice behind the social media platforms, wherever do hang out. But yeah, definitely I've got a website, socialocean.com.au, and you can
Yep.
read a little bit more about how we work with our clients if that's of interest to anyone. But yeah, absolutely love LinkedIn, love Instagram, love Facebook. And I love
Wonderful.
my wind down social media. I do advise people to go.
Well, I'll have all those links in the comments for everybody watching, and it's been an absolute pleasure having you here, Kirsty. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's just been so informative, and I know that this is going to help so many people just to gain that confidence again in themselves and their business, and know that they can turn things around just by tweaking a few things and, you know, opening up to the new opportunities that are there.
Yeah. I relish we get to have breakfast together very soon too, Trish.
Oh, me too, me too.
That I found you from an online group as well. So, you know, that's how we've connected with each other, which has been marvellous.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, that's because we both said yes. And you know, that's a really big thing for me, and because people kind of ask me a lot too, or how did that happen? How did that happen? How did that happen? And I'm like, I just said yes. And then you figure it out.
Exactly.
And I think that you know, you're a great example of that as well, because trying to figure it out before you say yes wasn't working, and so you had to open up to going, okay, and then it happened. And that's a great lesson, I think, and inspiration for everybody.
Yeah, no one's ever been by saying yes.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Be brave.
So, so thank you, and thank you everybody for watching. Please reach out to Kirsty and check out her amazing work. And if you're in the area, of course, although virtually, you don't have to be in the area right now. So check out the networking group as well, Ocean Network. And if you are in the local area, when Kirsty gets back to having breakfasts, come along. Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for tuning in to this episode. I look forward to seeing you next week on TrishRockTV. Bye for now.